Hello. Would you like to know some useful information that you may need when visiting Mexico for a business trip? Today, I want to speak to you about the official language of Mexico and some communication restrictions. Then it's society and culture. Next, I will be telling you about business customs and protocol. Fourthly, some etiquette that will be useful while in Mexico. Lastly, currency exchange rates and some required travel documents you will need. According to the U.S. Department of State, Mexico's official name is the United Mexican States. Its area is 1,972,550 square kilometers, which is 761,600 square miles. An example of this is to think about Mexico as being about 3 times the size of Texas. Its capital is Mexico City, and the official language of Mexico is Spanish. Here is a map of Mexico, and down here is Mexico City. It would be a good idea to learn some Spanish phrases or maybe to hire an interpreter while you're in Mexico. Some communication restrictions in Mexico is that when using a telephone, the international access code for Mexico is 52. The outgoing code is 00, followed by the relevant country code. An example of this is 001 for North America. Some U.S. long-distance phone companies have access numbers which can be dialed in order to use your phone card. Calls are usually cheaper than direct dial calls from a hotel room. If calling international from a phone booth, only use the official Telemex phone booths, as all others charge very high fees. GSM 1900 mobile networks cover most of the country. Internet access is widely available in most of the country, especially in tourist-oriented areas, according to Mexico Telephone Access Codes and Communications website. Now that you know the official language and some communication restrictions of Mexico, now I'll explain its society and culture. According to Quintessential, Mexicans emphasize hierarchical relationships. People respect authority and look to those above them for guidance and decision making. An example of this would be asking their grandmother for advice on what to do in a situation. Rank is important, and those above you in rank must always be treated with respect. Breaking the chain of hierarchy would be considered disrespectful in Mexico. Most Mexican families are traditional, with the father as the head, the authority figure, and the decision maker. Mothers are greatly revered, but their role may be seen as secondary to that of their husband. The extended family is as important as a nuclear family, since it provides a sense of stability. The extended family is as important as a nuclear family, since it provides a sense of stability. Mexicans consider it their duty and responsibility to help family members. For example, they will help find employment for a family member out of work, or even finance a house or large purchase, such as a car. Finally, Mexican males value their masculinity and generally believe that nothing must be allowed to tarnish their image as a man, according to Vertebra and Vertebra. Now that you understand about Mexico's society and culture, I would like to explain to you some business customs and protocol. In relationships and communications, the right connections facilitate business success. You will be judged by the person who introduces you, and changing this first expression is nearly impossible. Since the initial meeting is generally with someone of high stature, it is important that your delegation include an upper-level executive. After the initial getting to know you meeting stage, the senior executive may not attend other meetings or be visible. This indicates you are now getting down to business, and they are no longer needed to smooth the introductions. When you are in these meetings, expect to answer questions about your personal background, family, and life interests. Business appointments are required in business meeting etiquette and should be made at least 2 weeks in advance. Reconfirm the appointment 1 week before the meeting. Then reconfirm the meeting again once you arrive in Mexico. Now that you are familiar with some business customs and protocol, now I will explain some etiquette to follow while in Mexico. Mexico is a class-conscious society. Titles and other statues, symbols are important within Mexico's social framework and should be politely acknowledged. Mexico has extremely polite and courteous mannerisms built into its social norms. You should not display impatience, anger, frustration, or lack of general respect in formal or informal situations when dealing with most people in Mexico. In formal situations especially, you should not use their first names until invited to do so. Mexicans tend to stand closer to each other than in the USA and Europe. This may feel awkward at first if you are used to having 2 feet or more space between you and other people, for example. But in Mexico, it's quite common for people to stand and have a conversation with each other a foot or less away from each other. Finally, now that I have explained some etiquette to use while in Mexico, now I will tell you about currency exchange rates in Mexico and some required travel documents that you need. Mexico's national currency is the peso. Though some merchants both along the border with the United States and the interior destinations popular with tourists from the U.S. will accept United States dollar, you should plan to exchange your home country currency for pesos before you arrive in Mexico or at banks, currency exchanges, or automatic teller machines as soon as you arrive. According to TripAdvisor, you will receive a better value for your money if you use the local currency. There are 100 Mexican cents to every peso. The symbol for the Mexican peso is the dollar sign. To distinguish this from the dollar, you sometimes see it presented as MX dollar or the value with the letters MN after it. The most commonly seen and used Mexican bank notes are the 50, 100, and 200 peso notes. The Mexican peso is a free-floating currency in foreign exchange markets, and like other similar currencies, its value fluctuates daily. An example of this is when I converted a US dollar and it equaled 12.3603 MXN on March 20th, 2010. A universal currency converter can be done at www.xe.com. Peso coins and denominations of $1, $2, $5, and $10 are used frequently in Mexico, especially for paying small tips. In Mexico, getting change is sometimes hard to do, so try to do it as much as possible. Some required travel documents that you may need in order to visit Mexico. According to the website travelstate.gov, you must acquire a valid passport if you don't already have one. You can go to your local post office and get one. Also, American citizens can visit Bureau of Consular Affairs website or call 1-877-4-USA-PPT for information on how to apply for passports. This useful information on Mexico's language, communications, restrictions, society, culture, business customs and protocol, etiquette, currency exchange rates, and finally required travel documents should help you on your trip. I hope that all this information will help you while you are visiting Mexico. Thank you for listening and have a great day.